Hi, I'm Jason Gore for ThatShelf.com, and we're here to talk about Sarah Polley's Women Talking. Now, if you've ever had the opportunity to be anywhere in the same room, to breathe the same air, she's an extraordinary talent, an extraordinary person, a human being. You just feel great being in her presence. She's just a lovely, lovely person who has gone through a lot, has made numerous films, many of them are quite extraordinary, has told her stories in ways that are provocative and profound. As a Toronto film critic, I have to admit, I mean, my beliefs are on paper, as it were. Her films previously have not connected with me the way that they have with many, many audience members, my partner included. The fact of the matter is that while I admired her films, they never really knocked me out of the park the way they do with so many other people, which happens. Some filmmakers you absolutely are in sync with, some you're not. So I always loved her as an individual and admired her films, but they never knocked my socks off until this one. I think Women Talking is fantastic. I think it is absolutely the work of a very, very secure, intelligent, refined filmmaker. I mean, there's I hate to use the word auteur, but it really feels like it's her movie, that she has taken it and leads it along and is presenting it in a way that feels very, very much the vision of one woman. Equally, it feels incredibly technically accomplished. It feels narratively concise. It feels that it earns every beat of its emotionality. It absolutely speaks, for me, to the maturation of a really, really talented filmmaker who, maybe it's the book that she just wrote, maybe it's just the time during this crazy time of reflection that we've had, maybe it's simply the source material is connecting in a way that she's distant enough away from the story she's telling and yet so invested in it that she actually creates something truly profound. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to sit here and psychologize her. What I'm going to do is simply say that Women Talking is one of the great films of the year. I think the performances are fantastic. I think it's shot beautifully. I think some people were a little reticent about the sort of desaturated look that was chosen. I personally found it quite visually beautiful, but I'm also a sucker for things like Oh Brother, films that sort of mess with color palettes in order to sustain specific emotionality of the story takes place. It's a complicated story, but it's a very simple narrative, if that makes any sense. It truly is the story of women talking, sitting and making decisions about how to respond to violence within their specific community. On the one hand, it feels like a period piece because it's part of it's a religious group that obviously have eschewed things like modern technology, but it's set in 2010. So it's this balance between contemporary moral concerns and slightly more historical, theologically rigid stories. What's remarkable is that the film could take place almost anywhere in the world. These are grand debates about patriarchy, about religious fervor, about relying upon specific moral codes, but still fighting for individualism, about caring for a community. And all of these debates sort of play out in ways that are philosophically rich, but never pretentious. There's never this sort of sense that we're watching a lecture. There's never a sense that the camera's just sort of plopped there and we're just having sort of everything play out. Even though, structurally, it's a bunch of women in a barn in a circle having conversation with one another. Yet each of them presents a different facet, a different complexity of it in ways that are, I think, really stunning. It's certainly one to sort of be immersed in. It's a film, I think, that upon multiple viewings you will get the various levels out of it. It's about where we draw our lines, both moral, personal, political, about when we find that it is time for us to actually take a moment, and is it better to fight or is it better to walk away? And is walking away a sense of defeat, or is walk away a sense of survival, of simply finding a new start and having the courage to leave behind a certain sense of safety, of familiarity, even if that familiarity itself is littered with violence. The future of the characters in this film is, and what's fantastic about it is there is a sense of hope. There's a sense of that they will move on, but there's also an absolute sense of just impending uncertainty. That this is by no means a simple tale of closure, of revenge, which is, I think, going to be a little bit frustrating for some audience members that want something even more wrapped up than it is. But for those that are willing to give it a shot, those that are willing to actually indulge in a really wonderful, rich, warm film filled with great performances, beautiful score, the music's absolutely stunning, the cinematography is lush and lovely, but never showy. The camera work energizes what's actually taking place in these sort of closed listening and speaking sessions in ways that don't distract but certainly keep you engaged. And it just feels like a very strong hand from a very, very strong director. And honestly, I could not be happier that with this film, this is for me the Sarah Polley film that firmly sort of establishes her, if she needed further establishment, as just an icon, forget of Canadian cinema full stop. And I'm so happy for her. And I'm so happy that audiences will have a chance to see the film. For that's shelf.com, I'm Jason Gorba. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next video. Like, subscribe, take care.